Hi everyone, it's Damian here, and today we're gonna rip the curtain on something you've probably never questioned before, the 30-year mortgage. So let's get right into it. The 30-year mortgage is what I think is probably one of the biggest scams the banks have ever come up with. And it's been recognized for as long as I've been in the industry as standard, right? So you go get a loan, it's 30 years, and we don't think anything else. That's just what we're given. But why? Like, why don't we think outside of what we've been told? Like, why is it that we're just assuming that the banks have our best interest at heart when they don't? And I want you to remember this: the bank's interests are in earning interest. It's how they make money. They are a business, it's how they make money. So we went from in 1980s when they deregulated banking, we went from 25 years to 30 years. And now we're even seeing some lenders offering 35 and 40 years. The Aussie dream was to own your home. That's what people dreamed of. And it's becoming less and less possible now because of this. It's going to keep getting extended. And we have to think why? Why is that? Well, in the 90s and the 2000s, property prices started to increase quite a lot. And the banks needed to do something to combat that. So they need to increase borrowing affordability. And the only way for them to do that was to increase the loan term, because basically it would mean your repayments would be a lot lower. So think about this. You go buy a home, the standard loan term is 20 or 25, and you can't afford that loan. So banks would have started to notice that people can't borrow as much. So because the prices have gone up, so people need to borrow more. So if your income is X, you go to a bank, you borrow this much, the bank says yes or no. They would have started to get a lot of no's based on their borrowing capacity. So they came up with the idea to extend the loan term, and it's what we're seeing now. We're seeing some banks offer up to 40 years. So the way they combated property prices was to make borrowing more affordable. So if you make borrowing more affordable, people will go and buy. That's just the way that it works. If you want to go buy your home today and you need $1 million and you can't afford that on a 30-year loan term, for example, you say, I want to borrow $1 million because I want to buy this house. This is what me and my wife or my partner or whatever it may be, we want to buy this house. The bank said no. Imagine the bank said, oh, hang on a minute. Let's just do this. Let's do 35 years and you can get it. Guarantee you, you won't even think. You'd be like, amazing. The bank's going to give us the money. So you then take that money, not physically, you take that money though, and you go buy your house. And then you're a purchaser of that property. And then that has created the flow of the economy. That's the way it works. And this is why they've increased it. And you'll see that they'll start to increase it even more because they're already doing it. Loan term equals lower monthly repayments. So you borrow money on a longer term, it's lower monthly repayments. It becomes more affordable. And the banks sold it as a solution. They were noticing that there was a problem, like I just mentioned, and the way to combat the problem was to extend the loan term so they could still make money. And that was their solution. Just extend the loan term and borrow more. And you'll be right, because your repayments will be lower. Now, anyone would think that's great. It's only 5 years, it doesn't matter. Or it's only, if it went from 20 to 25 and then 25, it becomes a norm. So if your great grandparents took a 20-year loan term, that was the norm. And then it went to 25, then that was the norm. And now it's 30, then that was the norm. Then it goes to 35. It's a norm. So what we think is normal is just based on society and around what we're used to, but it's not. Like, It's to buy your dream home, but the banks profit just so much more. And you have to because you can't buy your home. So what are you going to do? Stay renting? No, because the Aussie dream is to buy a goddamn home. And that's what we want. But if housing affordability is so hard, the only way to do it is get a longer loan term. That's what the banks did. They produced a solution to housing. More years on your mortgage just means more profit for the banks. And to give you an example, on a $600,000 loan, by extending the loan term from 20 to 30 years at a 6% interest rate, the banks are making 135 grand more in interest. I'll say that again. On a $600,000 loan, from extending from 25 to 30 years, is $135,000 in interest. That's more profit for the banks. So you just got to start to think that this is not normal. The banks have done this as a solution, but to make more profit. Okay? 30-year loan is now the default. It's just what everyone does. I'm a broker. I've got a broker in business. You go to the bank, standard 25 years, 30 years, sorry. You apply online, standard 30 years. You go to a broker, standard 30 years. It's 30 years. It's not always logical. Like, that's just what's standard. No one is having the conversations around, do you want a 20-year loan term? Or would you take a 15-year loan term? No, because we're borrowing the maximum we can based on the 30-year loan term. And that's the way the system is designed. And like I said earlier, we're now seeing that you can get a 35 or even a 40-year loan term. Like, you're going to be in debt till you die. That's the reality of it. You're going to pass away at this rate or get to the end of retirement with a loan still. And we're seeing that. And it's because of the loan term. But it's because property prices have gone up. So you're backed into a corner. You're like, I've got no other option. This is all the option is. So who really wins? Who really wins? Well, for you only really get lower repayments. You get delayed ownership, which is not a win. You pay more interest, which is not a win. You carry debt into retirement, which is not a win. The only real win you get is lower repayments. But there's a lot of things you don't win for. What does a bank win? Will they get longer term income from your interest, like I explained before? Your customers are locked in. As a customer, you're locked in for decades. So they've got you. You're not going anywhere. They upsell you other products, credit cards, all this other bullshit, which I'm sure you're aware of. And you refinance, and guess what happens? The clock resets. Starts from 30 years ago again, because it becomes the default. When people refinance, and I'll talk about this in the next one, it becomes the default. So who wins out of all this? It's not you. It's 100% not you. It is the bank every single time that you take out a 30 or 35 year or 40-year mortgage. The bank is winning, not you. When you refinance, the default now is also that your loan term resets again. And your new 30 years equals even more profit for the banks. So what happens is you'll go to a broker, you go to a bank, and you'll say, I want to refinance. I want a better rate. And I'm just going to give an example of how this works. Let's say your payments are $4,000 a month and your rate is 6%. Just an example, right? You've had that loan for 5 years. So you got a loan of 600,000, whatever the loan is. Let's just say your payments are $4,000 a month and your rate is 6%. So $4,000 a month, 6%. You go to a bank or broker and say, I want to refinance. And they say, I can get you 5.75, and you think, oh my God, this is amazing. And your repayments are going to drop to 3,600. You think, wow, I'm saving $400 a month. This is brilliant. This guy is a genius. They're not a genius. They've just started your loan term again for 30 years. That small 0.25% example would probably only really relate in maybe $100 a month. Maybe that. It's not that you're saving $400 in that example. They've reset the clock. And that's why your repayments are lower, because you've now got to repay that over 30 years. And if you were 5 years into your term, you've now basically gone back to 30. So you're now on track to pay your loan over 35 years because you've already paid it for 5. It's a scam, and you need to be aware of this. Which brings me to my next point. Well, what can you do? Well, first of all, hopefully this video has made you aware that this whole ecosystem that we live in for a loan and we live in to borrow money to buy property is designed to make you obviously achieve your goal, but it's also designed for the banks to make as much money as they humanly can from you in interest. You need to take action. So you need to do something about it. And well, what do you do about it? Because when you do something about it, you can then finally achieve freedom. Now, here comes my little sales pitch. This is what I do. I help people pay their loan off in 10 years, not 30. And I do that through an online community that I've created called No More Mortgage. And I'll drop the link in below. But I don't want you to go, you can go check that out. But before I decide whether we can work together, there's a link below that you can click to book in a call with me. It's free. We'll have a chat around what your goals are and whether this is right for you. Awareness, action, freedom. This is what you need to do to break out of it. And I've got countless stories of families that I've helped that are now on track to pay their loan off in 10 years. And I can guarantee you that this is possible. You just need the right guidance and you need the right action, then you'll be on track to do that. So I'd love to work with you, but before we do that, there's 2 links. You can book in a call with me directly, or you can go to my No More Mortgage community, check it out. And if you think you just want to dive straight into it, then you can do that as well. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm super excited to work with you if we connect. If not, hopefully you found some use or you found some tips out of this video. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.